Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're reviewing the papers with you this morning. Joining us to analyze it, we have CKN, who is, of course, the publisher of CKN News, Chris Kehinde Nwandu. It's good to have you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Always
you
a
guys
pleasure.
are looking so sharp this morning.
The real sharp people are the people wearing blue on this set.
And you wear blue. They don't see your trousers.
And you wear blue.
You wear blue too.
I'm wearing blue inside.
Yes. I'm wearing blue in your hands.
Blue.
Okay, let's go through the papers. We're starting off with the Punch newspaper this morning. On the front page of the Punch, the big story there is IOCs still causing crude supply crisis. Dangote refinery cries out. IOCs referring us to international trading arms for crude purchase, says Dangote refinery. Firms still pushing for dollar payments, says Koran. Flays middlemen for hijacking supply. North tops applicants list as federal government disburses student loan. Over 600,000 Nigerians sought asylum abroad under Buhari, according to report. I wonder what the numbers will look like after Tinubu. UI students protest 10-hour electricity rationing tuition hike. 401 Osun local government caretaker ESCOs resign over Supreme Court judgment. Tinubu 6 trillion naira as 2024 budget hits 34.9 trillion naira. Federal government gets over $751 million World Bank loan. PDP governors ask federal government to fast-track minimum wage talks. Senate sacks Ndume as chief whip over anti-Tinubu comments. That's all on the Punch. Let's head over to the next paper.
Daily Independent newspapers next. PDP governors back Fubara move to tackle Rivers crisis. I did see that, I think someone had stated that it's coming too little, too late. That they should have stood up for him a long time ago. The party itself should have stood up for him a long time ago. They also lament the state of the economy as they seek credible elections, express optimism of returning to power in 2027. Support Labour's demand for enhanced minimum wage. Oh, that's also on the same story. Senate, APC draw flag over Ndume's removal as chief whip. New Central TV partners Nairametrics to produce Market Plus. I think everyone should keep their eyes open for that one. We can also find here government's weakened adoption of 5G as 57.55 subscribers still on 2G. Tinubu ties issuing mining license to local value addition, and also northern institutions stop applications for federal government student loan facility. Top of the screen there, Tinubu may announce new minimum wage figures today. And in Edo State, court reinstate Shoaibu as Deputy Governor affirms Igodalo Akpata candidacies. Edo Assembly appeals judgment on Shoaibu. Let's get straight to Mr. Nwandu this morning. You probably will start with the story on Ali Ndume as quickly as possible. We just got off a conversation with it, but what are your thoughts on his suspension as chief whip or his removal as chief whip?
I thought we've trashed that enough. We would have got to understand. But, okay, my view on it. There are certain things we need to understand. First and foremost, every Nigerian has a right we call freedom of speech. That is enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended. You have a right, freedom of speech, as we say, to say whatever you want to say. But if you say beyond what is supposed to be, which seems to be reasonable, probably you'll be charged for sedition, you could decide to charge for cyber crime or whatever. Second one is that we also have what is called legislative privilege. As a legislator, once you are within the chambers of the National Assembly or even State House of Assembly, anything you say within that hallowed chamber, you cannot be held for it. None. You cannot be charged for it because that is like a fortress for you. Yeah. You are immune, just that the immunity that the governors and the presidents enjoy, you as a legislator enjoys that privilege. Once you are within the hallowed chamber and you say whatever you say. But beyond that, if you say anything beyond that, outside that confine, you can be held responsible. I personally didn't see much in what Ndume say. If he's talking about food inflation, how Nigerians are suffering and likes, that is a fact. Every one of us knows that we say that on a daily basis on this program, other programs. But the only challenge I have is the medium with which our leaders try to talk. BBC is quote unquote, is not a Nigerian platform. It's not a Nigerian broadcast. And I always say that, why is it that they don't say this on our national television? Because once it's on, despite the fact that it's Hausa, but once it goes on BBC, it has gone international. And whatever you say is the impression people get about the company. And being a leader, I also believe that Ali Ndume has the privilege of being a ranking member of the National Assembly and the leader within the Congress. And I think that normal ways of passing on information within the ranks, within the Senate, through whatever mechanism they have to be able to do that. As I said, I don't have any problem with when he talked about the sufferings of Nigeria. The only place I have problem with is where he said that the president is not accessible and even his ministers cannot see him. That is a serious indictment, if you understand.
Yeah. I mean,
so that is how I feel. And I don't know. Somebody said I've not been able to verify that I could have done that. I heard that I think the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of States, Agriculture is same state with him from Borno State. And when you start saying that ministers, and you're talking of issue of food inflation and the rest of them, the impression I get is that probably you have spoken with the minister. And the minister, who is also from your state, now told you that, even me as a minister cannot have access to the president. But
he gave, so we could go to other things. I think he was describing it from his own perspective and maybe also from what he's also experienced or heard from other people. He also said that he had seen Mr. President, once, and Mr. President had asked him, why don't you come around? And then he told Mr. President, it's because of the people around you. They wouldn't let me in. They're the ones, shielding you, that kind of thing. Not in those exact words, but that's what he alluded to. And so it may be, again, it very likely is from his own perspective and, how he has also made attempts on success.
Let me tell you, the president is not somebody you see every day. There is a channel, in whichever country you find yourself. There are channels through which you see a president, because the president is very, very busy grappling with. This is a president that is supervising over 42 ministries, if you understand. Just quickly, let me just wrap on that. There are always channels. The basic channel to see the president is either the chief of staff or for the ministers, normally through the SGF and also chief of staff. Except you meet the president at an event. Do you understand? And you have to play there. So most often than not, it is not always, and let me put this at even Ali Ndume as a senator, just put it this way. Do you think it's just easy for you to just walk to the National Assembly? Yeah, but you want to say Ali Ndume? If you understand what I mean.
So the point here is that nobody's disregarding the fact that it's not, you don't just walk into Aso Rock. I get that, but I'm sure that Ali Ndume has been in that space for many, many years. So they understand the proximity that they themselves as high-ranking senators and high-ranking members of the APC should have to the president. And I'm talking about from Obasanjo's time to Yar'Adua to Goodluck to Buhari's time. They understand how it works. And so if he is complaining, he must have seen that, okay, this is not what we are used to. It's not because he's expecting to simply enter his car and drive into Aso Rock and say, Mr. President.
I think the conversation should actually be not when he's seeing the president. No, the conversation should be around, should he have been removed as the chief whip of the Senate? I think that is what we should be talking. I think that was.
Yeah.
I personally feel that what he did or what he said, yes, I totally disagree with that.
All right, let's go to still on the point where the president seeks an extra 6 trillion naira for the 2024 budget. Of course, moving it to 34.9 trillion naira.
I think it was initially about 28. Don't forget that one of the reasons why Ningi was suspended at a point was because he would raise an issue. And, Nigerians will find a way of just not listening to people.
That issue, was it ever investigated?
It was never investigated. They just suspended and just brought him back. So that is why when you talk of a kind of privilege, some of these people, some of them have inner privilege to know what is going on, which is not to you and I. Whether the president can ask for an additional listing, I don't think that he has the power. It is within him to be able to do that. But the fact I want to ask is that the 28 trillion that which was already appropriated and approved by the National Assembly, what have we done with it?
All right. While we're figuring out the answer to that question, we have a call from Jos. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Alhai, thank you for calling. Please go ahead.
Thank you. You see, the truth is that this issue of Ndume, they are not being sincere to Nigerians from the Senate. You understand? He has the right to speak as an individual, freedom of speech. For him to have come out to speak that you can't see the president, yes, we know that the president cannot be seen by everyone. But at least, for whatever reasons he must have presented to see the president consigning the nation, he should be allowed to see the president. Because you see, the masses, the general masses don't have access to all these leaders. That is why we have them as representatives there, so that we'll be able to now present whatever it is that the masses are going through in the country. They are being unfair to Ndume. It is not about, so now taking him from that position doesn't stop him from speaking. That is just the truth. So for me, as far as the whole thing is, the senators that didn't do it in good faith. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for calling. Okay, yes, you were saying the 28 trillion. What was done with it?
What have we done? We still have, it hasn't run out. So I personally have not seen the details of the new this thing from the president, request from the president, which I know that the National Assembly will definitely approve, whether we like it or not. But if it's based on projects for capital development, capital projects and the rest of them, I'm going for it. But you should also look at it from the point that Nigerians generally are not happy, because I personally think that what we'll be looking at now is how to alleviate poverty as it is, raise agriculture to a level. We should be declaring an emergency on agriculture and food. We should be having a revolution, quote unquote, on food security. Yeah. That is the issue. And if you look at what happened in Kenya just recently, how many, for what, just raising of tax, I would think that, oh, it can happen in Kenya, it can't happen in Nigeria.
Oh, there have been conversations about a potential protest here.
They have. I don't know of that, some people are talking about. But even after that little process that the president of Kenya thought that it was a joke, has led to the sack of all his ministers, has led to the sack of the Inspector General of Police. And the guys are saying, we're not even about you go, you should go.
Yeah. Let's hear from Tony Eze calling from Benue State. Good morning. Thank you for calling.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I want to comment on Ndume's issue. I want to tell us that Ndume is nonsense. Ndume is there when they are sharing SUVG. He didn't say anything bad about it. Now, one of presidential aides to Tinubu said, when it's time to take the children to work in CKN, Ndume has no issue. When it's time to take the students to work in analyst, he has no issue. I think those people, they are part of the problem that we have. And for him to come up and start complaining like this, without even going to the national chairman to complain to him, without even going to party to complain to him, he comes to national TV and start talking about these things. I'm not giving him plus to it. They are the part of the problem that we are having. Thank you. Good morning.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us and for calling in. Okay, I want us to quickly see if we can touch the next paper. We've been on the Punch for a while, so let's move on to the second paper, the Daily Independent.
Yeah.
On the front page of the Daily Independent, the big story, PDP governors back for Fubara move to tackle Rivers crisis. So let's talk about that again. We saw the latest update was that he'd been barred from spending from the national budget because he has refused to represent, his budget to the Martin Amewile-led assembly.
Yes, I would say to a large extent, congratulations to Governor Fubara. At least he's getting the backing of his colleagues. I just came back from Port Harcourt. I was in Port Harcourt for about a week, and I went to interview some of the government officials for my TV program, Inside Politics with CKN. And one of the guests I spoke with, which will be heading in the next few days, was the Commissioner for Information in Rivers State, as well as the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State. But let me tell you this. This is not the end of it. They've gone on appeal, and let's see what the appeal court says, and finally the Supreme Court on the matter.
Okay.
All right.
I believe that's the majority of the stories that we have.
I think
let's talk about Dangote. Let's talk about Dangote.
Yes,
very important.
Please, yes.
Let's talk about Dangote. Again, Dangote yesterday raised a fundamental issue. He spoke about a week or so.
He's been speaking. He's been in the news every day.
He has been in the news, and he's saying that he repeats what he said, that the IOCs are frustrating his efforts. Now that what the IOCs are doing is that asking him to go and negotiate with their partners abroad to now buy crude oil that is coming from Nigeria, exported abroad. He will now negotiate with them, then come back to them to who does that? That they are asking him to pay in dollars. Who does that? For a product that we get locally. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the IOCs. I blame the government, our government.
I was going to say that.
We blame our government because anything happened. I've always said Nigeria is just like Charlie Boy show of those days. Anything can happen on Charlie Boy show. Just on Charlie Boy show, when it starts to show, you won't know what's happening. That is what is happening. And what is more even annoying to me and very surprising is that we have a minister of petroleum. The minister of petroleum is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not Lokpobiri. Lokpobiri is Minister of State, who is just a second, I don't know what about to call it. So if anything is happening, I expect the president to have stepped in as the Minister of Petroleum now to make sure that you don't get this wrong. If a whole Dangote, with the kind of issue that we're looking at having with petroleum and the rest of them, and we've gotten a refinery that can be able to help us solve our problem, and we are still dilly-dallying on how to be able to make him have products. He has to start importing crude oil from Brazil, from USA.
It's very embarrassing to see.
It is not only bad. And we've become a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations.
Right.
Nigeria is a member of OPEC. And you know what that means? I don't know of any other nation in the world who is a member of OPEC that imports crude oil or petroleum products. So that is how it's happened. So that is when I talk about this issue of we are the president is asking for 6 trillion, asking for this thing. We are living, that's what you call, you are living your headache and run after lapa. You know what lapa is? Dandruff. You cannot have you have that, but maybe I have serious headache. You are living your headache that is going to kill you and run after lapa. So those are the issues. So if Dangote is talking, he's not talking to the IOCs. If you are very, very intelligent as a business, as somebody that is political, and you know that Dangote is directly throwing an arrow at the presidency and the government that you are the one allowing these things to fail. But he cannot call the president. He cannot just be talking about the president.
That would be for...
That would be for... You understand what I'm trying to say? But we have to get the issue resolved as quickly as possible. They told us, you remember since last year, they've been telling us that Port Harcourt refinery is going to work.
I think
now they push it
August.
again to September, to August.
Yeah.
Then they're now telling you again that they're going to start exporting petroleum products by December. Are you guys serious at all?
All right, Chris Kehinde Nwandu, really, really interesting having you, as always. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts on these stories.